Data protection is actually an issue that should be taken very, very seriously. In fact, what we are asking Communication Authority to do is to engage these stakeholders, Safaricom and Airtel, and ask very pertinent issues. Because while they are engaging in this process of re-registration or registration of SIM cards and threatening to deactivate the SIM cards on the basis that information has not been volunteered by the clients, which are to the service providers, one of the things that needs to be put out that should be transparent is who are the handlers of this information? Because the information that we are providing when they are asking for photographic images of the clients, which actually discloses on matters of race, on issues of gender, on issues of genetic, some of the genetic, what they are calling biometric information that is sensitive data, then it has to be handled in a specific way. Communication Act 2015, particularly the one that actually stipulates how the regulations and the guidelines on SIM card registration, is very clear that when they're handling this data, it must not be handled by third parties. That means you cannot also take it out of the country. That means also on some levels, we must ensure that the people handling this data are actually licensed by Communication Authority, because that's the only way that you can you can bind them by the law. But when you look at the process, it has not been clear. There has not been sensitization. Simple issues of just understanding where is this data being stored, even the transparency of why I require to give additional information besides that information that I already gave years ago on registration of my SIM card. For instance, myself, I registered my SIM card when I got it so many years ago, and I registered it with my ID. My ID has not changed, but now I'm being asked for additional information. They must be able, and this is actually clearly stipulated within the Communication Act, they must be able to explain why they require the additional data. On top of that, they must be able to showcase that the handlers of this data, those who are processing and storing this data, are regulated by Communication Authority. Means they must be licensed. The third parties should not, the service providers should not be extending that information to third parties. Now, this is not an issue of a small scale. We are not talking about the committee fraudsters who are calling you for your PIN number. We are talking about pertinent issues, terrorist activities. If our information is being traded to third parties, I keep asking the question, how did the terrorists of Westgate know that there would be so many high-level official figures in one mall at that particular time? How did they know? It's all in the data. The other thing is that there's a lot of illegal research that is being conducted by organizations in terms of AI and all this new technology that is being used for all purposes, for purposes of technology, for development, but also for purposes of creation of weapons of mass destruction. So it is not a simple thing of going to volunteer personal information to a service provider. We must understand what the process is. The process must be transparent. That is actually stipulated in the Communication Act. And on top of that, our information must not be traded and used for financial gain by third parties. And we know that this is happening. So let the stakeholders come out, let Safaricom come out, let Airtel come out, and let Communication Authority hold them accountable. And I would like to see the role of the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner come in, because there was they had put in a task force in 2021. And the task force came up with regulation on data protection, particularly now the framework on personal data. But it is yet to be approved and it is yet to be implemented. So we want to also first organize that space before any service provider will push us, technically putting a gun to our head saying that we are going to switch you off unless you provide ABCD. No, tell me what you're doing with that information. Tell me who is processing that information and handling, and tell me who is storing it and what is the geographical location of storing, because personal information and personal data must be stored locally. So those are the issues that need to be addressed.